Mr. Ram Madhav doesn't need an introduction because you must be seeing him or reading him every day in all the newspapers. He is the most visible face of Sangh ideology, Hindu Parivar or Sangh Parivar, whatever you call it. I was asking him, how do I introduce you? Because I know him for many years. But his role after reading what he does every day, I can't figure out what he actually does. He is intellectual par excellence. He is orator, one of the best. And he must be the most frequent flyer, and he must have accumulated maximum miles, which no other leaders has, because he's flighting, every flight you go, you will find a Ram Madhav every day in one flight or the other. So he's coming here, then he's going to Bangalore, from there he's going to Patna, I don't know how many destinations he's going to cover. You can't compete with him. But currently
jobless and busy.
Sorry?
Said jobless and busy.
Okay. So he currently is the President of India Foundation, which is one of the best globally known think tank. Think tank is a bad name these days in India because they have banned just one most old Center for Policy Research. But he runs a think tank which is much more active in both domestic affairs and international affairs. So Ram Madhav also is some kind of a unofficial, I would call, whether the foreign minister or the foreign secretary, or all combined into one. He represents the Indian culture, Indian ideology in foreign relations, and most of the time he's busy organizing seminars. He's hosting big conclaves where people from all over the world can come and participate. But today the different issue. We have invited him to speak more about Bharat and Hindutva, because he is the most articulate, ardent spokesperson of Hindutva. There is a difference between Hinduism and Hindutva, because most of the critics of the BJP, they don't call Hinduism, they call it Hindutva, because Hindutva, they think, is some kind of political ideology. Am I right? They think in that way. I want to start with you, Mr. Ram Madhav. During the last 9 years, 10 years, we have seen India becoming Bharat suddenly through one invitation which has gone out of the President House. It became Bharat suddenly. Then the second invitation from the Prime Minister went as a Bharat. Without formal announcement, it became a Bharat. The topic is that whether Bharat you introduced because you wanted to make it a Hindutva nation, Hindu nation. Is there a connection between the name change and Ram Raj, what is happening, Ram Pratishtha? Is there the connection between the changing the name, not changing the name, calling it Bharat? In fact, I wrote 2 years ago, why didn't you call it Bharat? When nobody took it seriously. So, Hindutva and Bharat, do you think they are synonymous? They are one? Or in India, there is some kind of, India is more important or Bharat is more important?
Firstly, we do not regard Hinduism and Hindutva as two separate and different things. Hinduism, many in our parivar do not see it in terms of any ism. So we generally avoid using the word ism for denoting Hindutva, Hinduness. Hindutva is just the very Indianized, version or word for Hinduism, if you want to use it that way. For us, there is actually no difference. But if somebody wants to criticize us and he wants to, sail in both the boats, he wants to be on the Hindu side also, but also against the RSS, then they try to create this artificial distinction between Hindutva and Hinduism that doesn't exist. Secondly, this thing that Bharat we suddenly started is also not correct. It was started in 1950. When India's constitution was officially promulgated, we said India, that is Bharat. By the way, may I remind, I was watching on your screen on the back side, you are one of the sponsors, the Bharat Petroleum. We have not started Bharat Petroleum. It has been there right from the time of independence. Bharat and India have always been in vogue in our countries at the same time. Sometimes we used India, sometimes we used Bharat. We are a party and an ideological parivar which is more rooted in our civilizational or cultural identity. So we sometimes prefer to use the word Bharat more prominently, more eloquently. That's all. There is no, again, just as there is no reason to pit Hinduism against Hindutva, there is no reason to pit Bharat against India. At least as far as we are concerned, we don't see it that way. And Bharat, Hindu, India, Hinduism, these are all in a way synonymous with our existence. This country is identified at various levels with all these words. Hindu, Hindutva, Bharat, India. This is the identity of this country. In different contexts, in different ways, we identify with this. So, whether we are now starting something new, whether we are taking the country in the Hindutva direction, I don't think that is really any tenable argument, because these are all always the core identity of this country. We deviated from it. We thought that we should probably discard it. Let me end by just reminding, in 1946, December, I think, when Constituent Assembly's first, objects resolution was to be moved, Nehru was to move it. While moving the resolution, Nehru makes a very interesting statement. He says, I know that we are a 5,000-year-old civilization, great culture, great civilization. But when I remember that, I get overwhelmed. I get petrified. And I think that I think whether I am really qualified to be a representative of that great civilization and all that. He starts with that argument. So what Nehru probably found was, probably I am not very qualified to be a representative of it. I am using his own words. I am not putting my argument here. So he thought, let me take an easier way. The fad of the day was a European idea, so we take it, let us simply say that whatever you talk about your culture, your Hinduness, your Bharatiyata, is backwardness. So it has a history. There was a debate over what should be our country, what should our country be called. India was proposed by the drafting committee. After a lot of debate, we added that is Bharat also. So for us, India, Bharat, Hinduism, Hinduness, Shashi Tharoorji is there. He authored a book on the virtue of Hinduism. Today we are all recognizing that that is the virtue of it. That or Hindutva, for us there is no difference.
I just want to ask, what was the need of renaming Bharat now, just before the election? India was there, and what was the hurry in suddenly G20 used as a platform for promoting Bharat? Was it a political message, or you wanted to redefine the identity of India as Bharat? What was the hurry? Why didn't you do it when you came back? Because it is written in the Constitution, India, that is Bharat, which I wrote 2 years ago, and I am saying 3 years ago. At that time, there was no connection, because Bharat is there. So I'm just asking, everything, why do you connect with the political convenience of yours? You change your thing according to what suits you. Is it right? That's the allegation.
No, not political convenience at all. If it was to be political convenience, we should be doing it now, just a couple of months before election, not in October when G20 was held. But G20 was an excellent opportunity when the leaders of the 80% of the world's economy, all the big powers were present there. You introduce the other core identity of this country as Bharat. See, Bharat in G20 was there used as a country nameplate before Honorable Prime Minister. There will be several occasions when Germany is introduced as Deutschland. They introduce their country as Deutschland on international forums. It is out of a sense of pride that, this is my ancient identity, that was done. But in the G20 literature, India was also used several times. It's not that we purged India and then we now changed it to something. No. But yes, as I said, it's our core belief. We are rooted in the civilizational, cultural history and identity of this nation. So we take pride in introducing us as Bharat and Bharatiya, where it is good, possible, where it is necessary. India is also used. All the IITs are still called IITs. Name is not changed. So that's why I said we need not pit these words against each other. They all can happily live together.
You are changing names anyway. You have changed the criminal law because it's in English, then you made it something very Sanskritized Hindi. So you are in the process of name changing. You will do that also, what you're talking about. IITs might become Bharatiya Anusandhan or whatever you will call it later on. But question again I'm asking, because you, India and Hindutva, I'm linking with that, Bharat, because your emphasis on Bharat. India is supposed to be, people look at India as a secular country. It doesn't connect it entirely with the Hindutva way of thinking, though India is a majority, 90% Hindus are there. So are you trying to erase that impression that India is no more a secular country? It is Bharat or Bharatiya, whatever your definition is that. Is that an attempt? Hindutva means Bharat, Bharat means Hindutva and nothing else.
Oh, actually, on the contrary, Bharat has always been very secular. You see, this whole idea of India being a secular country as stated by our constitution began in 1976. Even in 1950, or a couple of years before when that whole preamble was being framed, Nehru, on record, this was there in Mr. Jairam Ramesh's book on Krishna Menon. He told Menon, go slow on this word secular. Don't use it so liberally. That's the reason why in our original constitution, in the preamble, we did not use both the words secular and socialist. The opposition came both from Ambedkar and from Nehru. Did it mean that we were not secular? Did it mean that until 1976, Indira Gandhi introduced secularism as a word in our constitution, India was not secular? Or for that matter, were we not secular before 1947? So this whole myth of whether we became secular because we were being called India or we were not secular if we don't call us India, that's why I'm saying all these arguments, all these statements are very political. They don't really stand the real argument, reality. This country has been secular. And in fact, that is one statement that Ambedkar makes. You don't have to say it as secular. You don't have to call it secular. Because the whole constitution, the spirit of it is secular. This was Ambedkar's word. So, that's what I'm saying. Bharat bolte hi, you are trying to make it a communal country, you want to discard secular. No. But only thing is, if I were to add a rider to it, I would say it will be truly secular country. What we were practicing had many issues, probably that do not even stand the test of that secular claim that we make. We need to be truly secular in the sense that in Bharatiya tradition, in our country's tradition, equal respect to all faiths, no preferential treatment for or against any religion is what should mean secularism here. The important reason is secularism is not the same in every country. In France, in public life, you have to completely dissociate from religion. That is secularism in France. But in UK, if you have to be the emperor, the king, the queen, you have to publicly proclaim your adherence to Anglican Church, not to another sect of Christianity. You have to be an Anglican to be the ruler. Is UK a secular country or not? When presidents take oath in America, they place their hand on Bible. Okay, in India we place our hands on Constitution. There it is Bible or Bhagavad Gita, both are allowed. But the point is, a bishop is holding it. And you are placing that. Is America secular or not? Different countries have different understanding based on their cultural and civilizational ethos. Our understanding is equal respect, no discrimination, no preferential treatment on the basis of religion. That is true secularism. That is what we stand for. That is what Bharatiyata is all about.
No, you're talking that political statements are being made. I'll take example of Shashi Tharoor. He tweeted this morning, exposed. Ram is not a political idol. His Ram is also your Ram. But you're trying to say my Ram is different than his Ram. Is that right?
Oh, actually the other way. They are saying that their Ram is secular and our Ram is communal. No, I tell you, sir. I tell you. You know, this whole tamasha that is happening today about Ram Mandir. Sir, you were all active in journalism. You have seen these things. In 1989.
I was there yesterday.
Yeah, you were there. In 1989, sir, Shilanyas happened. the foundation laying ceremony of the temple happened. Sir, do you know with whose concurrence that happened? With the then central government and with the then state government of Uttar Pradesh, both were led by Congress. And when there was a dispute raised by the Babri Masjid Action Committee over the place where the Shilanyas was to happen, the location, actual location where the Shilanyas was to happen, matter went to the High Court. High Court said, it should happen outside 2.77 acres of the plot. What is the 2.77 acres could not be decided. Initially, the central government said, no, Vishnu Hindu Parishad is violating, it is doing it in the disputed side, etc., etc. Then Mr. Bhuta Singh went, Mr. Kamalapati Tripathi went, the then Chief Minister Narendra Tiwari went, held negotiations with Vishnu Hindu Parishad, suddenly declared that the site that Vishnu Hindu Parishad decided to do Silanyas is actually a valid site. It is outside the dispute. They gave, media wrote, you all wrote, that active support of the then state and central government. Ram Janmabhoomi Shilanyas happened. That is secular act. When on the same site, on the same Shilanyas site, if a temple is built, how can it become a communal act? Where foundation was laid, that is secular. When you got it laid there, you were present there. And when the temple comes up, how can it become a communal act? So that's why I'm saying this whole thing is being politicized not by us, but those who are opposing it. Faizabad say Mr. Rajiv Gandhi started his election campaign in 1989 from Faizabad, October. Why Faizabad? Because, and there was a reference that if we get elected, we will get Ram Rajya. What is the Ram Rajya? But your Ram Rajya is secular, my Ram Rajya is communal. But how can it be that
Ram,
way?
the question, you raised Rajiv Gandhi question, you see, I was covering that time. When you are talking about construction of Ram Mandir, why don't you give a credit to Rajiv Gandhi government for reopening the Ram Mandir, which was closed for 45 years? Do you speak about that? It was Rajiv Gandhi who facilitated the opening of the Mandir. After that, you constructed the temple.
Sir, we went much further.
No, we
went much further.
Do you ever give them credit?
We actually invited the leaders of Congress party.
That is the point. That's the point they are making.
They said that, no, it is your show. But you were there for laying the foundation stone.
Correct, you are right. But who are you to invite them? Ram belongs to a Shashi.
Not we. Those who are mandated to build the temple.
That is the answer.
That time it was Vishnu Hindu Parishad. That is acceptable for Congress.
My question.
You know, Mr. Bhuta Singh held negotiations with Ashok Singhal ji.
With?
Sir, people know about it.
With?
In 1989, he held negotiations with him. And between them, an agreement happened that yes, Shilanyas will happen at the exact site where Vishnu Hindu Parishad had decided, at the exact moment when it was decided. This was an agreement, and agreement means it is not a written agreement, because the government was controlled by Congress both in the state and in the center, at the center. So we are not politicizing it. That's why invitation was extended.
You see, two things, Ram, you will not give credit to, because I am witness to the history. Because why I am saying that it's become a you want to use it as political, that's the allegation the opposition is making. I am just saying that. Babri Masjid was demolished when Prime Minister of India was a Congress person. And he was sleeping when it was demolished. Because I went to his house on that day, I was Indian Express editor. On 5th of December morning, we published a photograph of Babri Masjid, how it is going to be demolished on 6th of December. The whole, now you can search it. He allowed, willy-nilly, to demolish the whole thing, it should be over. Rajiv Gandhi's government open the gates of Mandir, so that the Mandir process, one step, you demolish the structure. Second step, you open the Mandir, so you become legitimate place owner. But these are the two important milestones in the history of India, which led to the final construction of the Ram Temple, foundation for which was laid by the Congress government. Do you agree or not?
No, so fair enough. I am going much further. The Ram Lala appeared in the Babri structure when Congress was in power. In 1949, it appeared. K.K. Nair was the commissioner at that time. So, you are right. You talked about Shilanyas. Before Shilanyas, locks were opened in 1986. Mr. Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister. Sir, if Congress wants to take credit, Shiv Sena wanted to take credit for the demolition. Let Congress also take credit for demolition or whatever, because you are saying Mr. Narasimha Rao did not do what he was supposed to do. So if that credit also you want to give to Congress, I don't mind. I mean, we are saying this mandir is coming up because of the sacrifices of millions of Hindus and the desire of 1.4 billion Indians. Indians, I'm saying, for a very important reason. When the temple construction was to be undertaken, when it was decided to collect funding from the people, we should not take a single penny from the governments, neither from UP government nor from the central government. It was decided because when Somnath was to be built, it was a cabinet decision. So much of secularism we are talking about. I'm criticizing, I'm actually welcoming it. But when Somnath was to be constructed, it was decided in a cabinet meeting, a cabinet resolution was passed that Somnath temple should be reconstructed. Was it a secular act? Technically speaking, was it secular? Mahatma Gandhi was alive not at the time of the resolution. Before, he actually already told Patel that whenever you want to rebuild Somnath temple, please don't use government money. Let it be a people's temple. Collect it from the public. That is why Patel says in the cabinet meeting that, okay, we are passing the resolution to rebuild the temple there, but let us depend on the funds given by people of the country. Somnath was built like that. So when you want to give credit, give to millions and millions of Ram Bhaktas. And when the temple was consecrated in Somnath, Rajendra Babu was president. Okay, you can say he was president of the country, he was there. Why was Purushottam Das Tandon there? Purushottam Das Tandon was the president of All India Congress Committee, AICC. Why was Tandon there? If Tandon can go to Somnath, why not Kharge ji go to Ayodhya? Kharge ji ko secularism argument kaise aata hai? Which Tandon ko aaya nahi hai? So I'm saying we are not politicizing. We see Ram Mandir as the reflection of the sentiment and aspirations of 1.4 billion Bharatiyas. I said when we collected the funds from public, Muslims, Christians, Hindus, Sikhs, everybody contributed. Communists only telling us that don't write our name on the receipt. Take it. We also wanted to. So everybody contributed because some see Ram as God, some see him as great ancestor of our country, somebody who gave a great value system. Why not we see it in that spirit? We are not politicizing, but why others want to politicize it?
Anyway, I'll open this because time is short. I'll open this first time because a lot of questions may be asked. Any student wants to ask any question can raise their hand and name like that.
The Ram Mandir, was it for Sakar Ram or Nirakar Ram?
Ram is, Valmiki's Ramayana describes Ram as Vigrahavan Dharmaha, that is one phrase used. The other one is Maryada Purushottam, the epitome of great virtue and great value system. So you worship him as Sakar, those who want to worship him as Sakar, he is Sakar. You want to worship him in Nirakar, it is the value system, Maryada Purushottam. He is the epitome of great values and he is virtue personified. So he is both Sakar and Nirakar. In fact, that is the greatness of Hinduism or Hindutva, if I were to use that word, Hindutva or Hinduism. It believes both in form and formlessness. For us, both is divine, because for us, divinity is everywhere. It is omnipresent. Religions that believed that God is formless. There are many Semitic religions, they believe that God is formless. But you see the description, it's always He. When it is formless, how is it gender specific? How is it He? Why not she? So, the real formless concept is our own concept. Ram, for some, is a form, a deity with a bow and arrow. For some, it is Balram, which is enshrined in Ayodhya. For some, it is the Ram Darbar, Sita, Ram, Lakshman, and Hanuman. But some is just a value system. Whichever way you want to worship, we can worship.
Another question? Yeah, this.
Hello. Yes, sir. We know that their India and Bharat name is there. If we see the constitution, there is Bharat ka Samvidhan, or if in English we say Constitution of India. Since if we see that like how the new alliance with the name of India came into picture, is that since the new alliance came as the name of India, now the ruling party wants to fortify the name of Bharat into the nation. Is that ruling party is now scared that if we give the India, if any of the campaign which I will bring is like will put as like Startup India or any of the program which they bring with the name of India, so it will be showing that it's come from other.
So Startup
alliance.
India has changed.
No, it's
Not changed, na?
But
Then you are answering the question. We are not afraid. In fact, actually, nobody is afraid from our side. There are many who are afraid of that side. Mamata Banerjee has declared, I don't want to do anything with India Alliance. So they are more afraid, not we. Okay, number one. Number two, let me tell you some interesting fact. I come from Andhra Pradesh. We speak Telugu. In Telugu, invariably, every book, everywhere, if you write about the name of the country, you write only Bharat Desham. Bharat is what we read. We don't write India Desham. We read Bharat, very naturally. Is it a political decision? We are afraid of India Alliance, that's why we are using Bharat in Andhra Pradesh. That will be the most silly argument. No, nobody is afraid. There are many afraid on that side. They are not joining them. But that is not the reason. I can tell you that's not the reason. As I said, as I answered, Bharat, we have a commitment. It's an emotional commitment, but it's not against any other word, whether it is India. Bharat has the word Hindustan. Do you know so many companies today are Hindustan Aeronautics, Hindustan Petrochemicals, HPCL. So many places Hindustan is used. No, we are happy. Fair enough. You use Hindustan, you use Bharat, you use India. All of them mean same. It's not political at all.
So, from the constitution, India is mentioned as it's a secular nation. But from the comments that you made, you said that India can also be represented as India or Bharat. We agree to that. But when you said, you also added that India can also be mentioned as Hinduism or Hindutva. How could it be related?
No, India is mentioned, not mentioned, I'm not saying India is mentioned as Hinduism. Hindustan is the word we use for our country. I gave you examples. Public sector undertakings have the name that starts with Hindustan. All these names never represented anything sectoral, anything parochial. This Vikruti, this twisted mind has started recently. If you invoke Bharat or Hindustan, you are taking the country into communal direction. But these words have been there right from the time of our independence, even before. So, this twisted mind needs to be corrected. Probably this new transformation that is happening will help us achieve that. I'm so happy. Now, the challenge from the opposition also is not about whether Ram Temple is secular or not secular. When do you allow me to go? You know yesterday's argument. Only one person should go to temple. Why not I go? We welcome this debate. Everybody should come. Everybody should enter the Ayodhya temple, all temples. That is this land. This has been that land. I'm not saying it's something we are doing for the first time. It has been the culture of this country. It has been the tradition of this country. That's why I gave you the example of Somnath. Through a cabinet resolution, we decided to rebuild Somnath. Through a cabinet resolution. And if time permits, please read the speech of Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Not the correspondence between him and Nehru. It has been publicized far too much by different people in different ways. But the speech delivered by Dr. Rajendra Prasad, such a wonderful speech, and you see a lot of similarities in that speech and the speech delivered by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Ayodhya on 22nd January. Rajendra Babu talked about a prosperous, developed India. Pradhan Mantri Modi ji talked about Viksit Bharat. That is the spirit of all these enterprises. This is not parochial, this is not communal. This is for building a strong Bharat, but with self-confidence. Not with a slavish attitude, but with self-confidence.
So this question may be from all common Indian. There are many deep-rooted issues. I'm not mentioning about the facts which are disclosed in Hindenburg or what happened to Trivandrum airport. I'm not speaking about it. The earlier session also, the speakers, they given a humble submission that the ruling government is trying to, divert the attention of the people from the common issues, starting from unemployment, particularly the fuel price hike, all those things they have mentioned. Do you think that the strategy which is adopted by now, with the help of the temple, where the BJP started the campaign to retain the position, or whether the BJP government is having a moral fear about doing the campaign by explaining the achievements made during last couple of years, almost 9 years? So this is a common man question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, don't arrogate to all common men. It's your question. That's it. Common men are very clear about what is this country and what is Modi ji doing. That's why they are supporting him. And the question has a relevance, whether we are doing it for any political purpose or it is genuinely a project that was initiated and it has come to a conclusion. I would say that for us, it's never an electoral exercise or political exercise. It happens here. Again, I'm sorry that I'm going back to that Somnath again and again. Somnath happened in May 1951. In October, elections were announced. So may I now submit that the first election, Congress wanted to win. That's why they built Somnath. May I say that? No, we are all proud that nation's heritage has been restored. And millions are very clear about it. Some are confused. Some have issues. But millions and millions are convinced about it. And that's why I said, in his entire speech, did Prime Minister invoke Babar? The man who demolished the temple as per the Babar Nama. Did he invoke his name? No. Did he try to pit one community against other? No. Instead, he said, Ram should be not an issue of conflict, but of unity. He said he should be the energy for the country. Because Ram has always been a great unifier for us, for everybody. No election, no politics in it. It happened just before the general election. But our whole, this arrogant, educated thinking is that Indians are fools, idiots. You can sway them. Indians don't think they can be swayed. Sir, please remember, not today. 1949, 26th November, Dr. Rajendra Prasad delivered his final address to Constituent Assembly. He referred to this argument by some members in the Constituent Assembly that India is uneducated. There was only 17% literacy at that time. So democracy will not work here. People can be, influenced or purchased. Rajendra Babu says, I come from a village in Bihar. I have full faith in the wisdom and political maturity of my countrymen, even if it is a rural person, even he is educated or uneducated, politically he is mature, he is wise. You don't have to worry about India's democracy. And we have proved for 75 years. So please don't worry today. It is safe. Because the opposition is not winning, you can't say that, no, Modi is using other things. No. It's not our duty to highlight what is good, what is not good. If it is not good, let opposition highlight it. If it is there unemployment, let DMK highlight it, let Congress Party highlight it, let people agree. If people agree, they will vote for you. If they vote for you, they are wise. If they vote for BJP, they are swayed. Well, 4 states elections happened, 5 states happened, 3 BJP won, 1 Congress won, 1 another party won. How can you say people are swayed in only 3 states but not in Telangana? So these are all arguments that we educated people, thinking we are very rational, we try to make. People of this country are wise. They know who is the right person to lead this country. Probably they have decided for next 10, 12 years. Thank you.